Hello, everyone. Welcome to Money Hour Radio, a show where we try to help you grow your money, pay less taxes, and have a beautiful retirement. I am one of your co-hosts, Ben Barzideh. I have my esteemed co-host, Matt Nadeau here.
Hey, everyone.
We are both founding partners and wealth managers at Barzideh and Nadeau Wealth Management, a comprehensive financial planning firm located locally right here in Barrington and serving the greater Chicagoland area. We are fiduciaries, and as an independent, family-owned firm, we truly have the freedom to focus solely on your interests and not some corporations or those shady private equity companies. And again, we want to remind you to check out our YouTube page. There's a segment on there titled How Private Equity is Ruining in America. It is excellent. It will let you know more about how toxic private equity is, allegedly, of course. And please like it and share it.
Hey, we're hearing about it from even like UFC fighters out there who think private equity is the worst. So I think we've got a movement here. Go watch it. We think it's great. Other than that, we also want to take a moment and just say hi to all of our clients. We know you're listening out there, enjoying your Saturday afternoon, and we appreciate all of you, especially the trust you've placed in us. And of course, we love every one of you. And going into this week, Ben, we knew we were going to talk about Nvidia. Honestly, we knew they were going to probably crush it again with earnings, but it wasn't enough to drive the market higher. That was quite a crazy day. We're going to talk about why it wasn't enough. Then we want to talk a little bit about cryptocurrency, and specifically Bitcoin is now in a bear market. And is that signaling maybe a negative and more losses for stocks? And then lastly, when it comes to the economy, UBS is now saying there's a 93% chance of a U.S. recession.
Wow, that's bold.
Yeah. 60% of the time, they're right every time, right?
Exactly.
And then after, in our next segment, we're going to talk about a really interesting and cool tool for estate planning called a qualified terminable irrevocable trust. We'll just call it a QTIP. And that can protect your legacy to your kids. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a great topic.
You definitely don't want to miss that. But before we start, we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel on moneyhourradio.com, where you can view this week's episode along with our previous ones. You can also sign up for our weekly economic newsletter. It's called the 5-Minute Market Brief. It's informative, succinct, easy to read. You can sign up for it at bnwealth.com. And lastly, follow us online via our BN Wealth social media pages on Facebook and Instagram.
All right, let's jump into this first topic. I know everybody's talking about Nvidia. They're the tech, the AI darling, the biggest company in the world. And we were all waiting for their earnings announcements on Wednesday after the market close. And it crushed it again. It grew 65%, man, year over year. It's like amazing. And it also said it had $500 billion worth of orders for their chips for 2025 and 2026. And then the CEO also squashed any talks of AI being in a bubble. And guess what? It still wasn't enough. At one point, its stock was actually up about 5% Thursday. They did earnings Wednesday after market close, and it gave it all back, and it's finished down 3% on the day. That's an 8% swing. And then the S&P and the NASDAQ were up over 1.5% for the day, and the NASDAQ up over 2%, and both reversed and finished down, the S&P by 1.5% and the NASDAQ down 2%. It was a crazy, wild reversal. So what's going on, Ben?
Boy, it was so many ups and downs, highs and lows in such a short amount of time. I jokingly say it was like watching a Bears game, right? No, actually, the Bears are doing good this year.
Yeah, as a Broncos fan and Bears fan, you guys are doing all right.
So here's what happened, though. The answer, in our opinion, is not that Nvidia's earnings didn't address how much money they make. It certainly did that. But what it didn't address was something that the market and AI are reckoning with, which is that, do we need all of this capacity? And stated differently, will we need all of these data centers that they're building and computing power in the future? And if all of these billions and trillions in investments don't turn into profits at some point and in the relatively near future, we have a big, big problem. And those angst are really just starting to rise by the day. And the other cause of the market dropping was worries about the Fed not cutting rates in December.
Yeah, and as we know with the government shutdown, we had a bunch of delayed reports. Well, this week we got our long delayed September employment report. And it actually was pretty robust. It showed the US created 119,000 new jobs. And that maybe could keep the Federal Reserve as a potential reason not to go ahead and do an interest rate cut for December. And the increase in new jobs was actually the largest we'd seen since April, but hiring has slowed down and pretty sharply this year. And the economy has lost jobs in June and August. So again, with a caveat, do we even trust these job numbers anyway?
I don't.
Ben, it's the joke. If you do, we've got a bridge I want to sell you. So I don't know if we should put much stock into it. Plus, the data's over 2 months old. So we'll see.
Yeah, those jobs numbers, as GW used to say, that's fuzzy math, right? Regardless, it is interesting that the peak of the market, though, to just echo what you were saying, Matt, was October 29th, about a month ago. And that was the same day that our favorite Fed chief, too late Powell, J. Powell, pushed back on the inevitability of a December rate cut. And so, that's adding some more worries to the market. But the next topic we want to pivot to is Bitcoin. And why are we talking about Bitcoin? Well, here's why. Is Bitcoin, the bear market it's in, signaling more losses ahead for stocks? So Bitcoin is in a big bear market right now. It's down about a third, so about 33% from its highs. It was over $120,000 and fell below $84,000 at one point on Friday. And that may be a huge red flag for the market. And you might say, why? Who cares? I'm not invested in Bitcoin or crypto.
Yeah, good question. And the reason really is because it's become almost like a proxy for the risk appetite for the public. And it's acting as a leading indicator for the direction of the market. So during the last 3 drawdowns in downturns in the market, including this recent one we've started having, and the previous one in March and April, and also the summer of 2024, each of those times, Bitcoin ended up being that leading indicator. It topped out. It started going down a few weeks before the market did, and then it actually started recovering before the market did. So if that pattern is consistent, that means potentially more losses for the market ahead during this recent storm, because Bitcoin is still not showing any signs of bottoming out yet.
It'll be interesting to see if that pattern holds. All right, the next thing we want to talk about is how last month UBS came out and warned of a 93% chance of a recession here in the US. And I was like, say what? That is very bold. I mean, man, imagine the confidence you need to have to make that recommendation. I don't know if I've ever given that high of a probability for any prediction in my life.
Yeah.
I like to hedge it like 60-40. But they cited things we've heard before, like labor weakness, high prices for goods, the current high interest rates, declining spending, low consumer confidence. But still, come on, man, 93% chance.
Come on, man. So here's, we also do have concerns as well, right? First, if you take out those Magnificent Seven companies, which are all involved in AI, most of the rest of the market's been limping along all year. And those 7 companies, as we've seen, they can't sprint forever. And if they slow down substantially, it's not like the rest of the market is speeding up to carry the load. And the other thing is that those same tech companies are just not adding any additional jobs. They've actually been laying people off, maybe replacing them with some AI. And if you take out that Magnificent Seven that are holding everything up, I think you could start making a case we might already be in a recession already.
And that's why I think, Matt, the Fed's role to stay ahead of this is so important right now. And I think Powell needs to start cutting rates and some more and alleviating some of the pressures that we're starting to see, because they're starting to pick up. But this recent pullback in the market is something we're watching very closely going forward, because it does impact how we trade, how we manage our advance and protect strategies that we manage for our clients. And as you listening audience knows, we monitor our investment positions every single day. And if the market conditions deteriorate, we will get defensive by actually selling out of the stock market and going heavier into bonds or cash while we wait for things to improve. And that's because we do not believe in writing down potential market crashes all the way down to the bottom. We will literally get 100% out of the market at times if the conditions warrant it.
Yeah, if you're in retirement, you need to have a disciplined sell strategy, and you need to ask yourself, do you have a defensive plan to protect your money from a real serious market crash? So if this philosophy resonates with you and you're looking to have your money managed by somebody that's a professional like us that can manage your portfolio this way, reach out and schedule a complimentary consultation by going to our website at bnwealth.com or calling us at 847-780-2980. All right, don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Money Hour Radio, a show where we try and help you grow your money, pay less taxes, and of course, have a beautiful retirement. I'm one of your hosts, Matt Nadeau. I've, of course, got my esteemed co-host, Ben Barzideh.
Hello, everyone.
And we're both founding partners and wealth managers at Barzideh and Nadeau Wealth Management. We're a comprehensive financial planning firm, independent, not affiliated with any private equity companies, and we're located right here in Barrington and serving the greater Chicagoland area.
And we're not just another financial firm. We do operate very differently. We have a simple motto: do great work, have fun, and give back. It's important for us to try and help enrich our local community, and why we started the charitable arm of our company called BN Giving, a way for us to invest in your purpose with you. How it works is if you become one of our clients and you're a faithful tither or a regular giver to a 501c3 charity, just let us know. Each year, we will match your donation up to 10% of the management fee that you pay us. And as our firm grows, so does our collective impact. Isn't that such a neat concept?
I think it's fantastic. We're really strong believers in it. We actually even have a really fantastic 10-minute video that's on our YouTube page. If you go to moneyhourradio.com, you can see it. And it's titled The 6 Best Ways to Give to Your Church or Charity. And so if you're out there and you're part of a church or a charitable organization, it can be a big benefit to go watch that. And you'll actually learn a lot more about the best ways to give. And if you want to learn even more, please reach out to connect with us, because our team will actually offer complimentary educational options on tax-efficient giving strategies that can allow your donors or your tithers ways to maximize their tax deductions while still giving you, the organization, a lot more money than you may have otherwise received. So it is a win-win for everybody.
Except the IRS.
Well, hey, they don't count, right? They're not people. Yeah. They don't have souls. And hey, if you're out there and you're not much of a charitable giver, that's okay. We understand. We would still be honored to work with you as well. But if you are interested in learning more, of course, go to our video that we mentioned on moneyhourradio.com. And you can also join our BN Giving community by becoming a client. So you can reach out to learn more online at bnwealth.com, or just call our office. We'll be glad to help you. 847-780-2980.
Also, we have a tab on our website at bnwealth.com for BN Giving. It's to the top right. You can click on it and it has a lot of information there. Yeah. All right, so let's change it up. How can a qualified terminable interest property trust, QTIP, how can it protect the legacy to your kids? And the QTIP trust, and no, we're not talking about the cotton swabs in your cabinet. QTIP stands for Qualified Terminable Interest Property Trust, which, let's be honest, sounds like something only a tax attorney, some of those nerds could love, right? But stick with us, because this is a powerful estate planning strategy, and it can save families millions. It can prevent drama within the family, which could certainly help keep Thanksgiving dinners slightly less awkward, right? It's that time of year.
Right before Thanksgiving, run out to your attorney and talk about this so you guys can have a nice, comfortable Thanksgiving dinner. So I guess the big question is, what is this QTIP trust? And a QTIP trust is actually a special type of marital trust, and it's designed to provide income to a surviving spouse for their life, and it ensures that any remaining assets will then eventually pass to other beneficiaries. Typically where we see this is in like second marriages, where you care for the spouse, but then your children, maybe from a prior marriage, will still inherit the assets. So it's balancing these two goals of taking care of your loved spouse while also protecting your legacy for your heirs. So think of it as the estate planning version of having your cake, eating it too. When one spouse passes away, the trust is going to provide that income that surviving spouse needs.
But here's the kicker. The surviving spouse doesn't get to decide where the leftover cake goes. And that's already baked into the plan. Get the pun right there. But when they pass, the assets go to the beneficiaries chosen by the first spouse. So it's kind of like saying, honey, I love you. I want you to be comfortable. But when we're both gone, the kids get the house, not your yoga instructor. So that's why we jokingly sometimes call this the Casanova Trust, because it protects your kids from your spouse remarrying a Casanova and being swindled.
Man, you're acting like you've went through this. You've got like fun terms for it and everything.
As you know, when you've been on this side, we've seen a lot. So some of these things we talk about, unfortunately, we've seen in real life the problems that can happen if you don't do it right.
Of course. Yeah. And really why this is helpful is these QTIP trusts really shine in the blended families like we talked about. So let's go through this kind of thought process, right? Imagine you've got kids from a previous marriage and you want your current spouse to be taken care of, but also you want to make sure that your kids inherit that money. It's earmarked for them. Without this QTIP, there's actually a risk that your spouse could then redirect assets somewhere else. But with a QTIP, you actually get to lock in your wishes. And let's not forget about taxes. QTIP trusts qualify for marital deduction, which means estate taxes are deferred until the surviving spouse passes away. So translation, good old Uncle Sam, he's got to wait his turn.
You know what's interesting, Matt, is people may think that, okay, this is not necessary. I trust my spouse to do the right thing, and especially if it's a second marriage, those type of things. But while we don't know and what we can't prepare for is what the future holds, because what if your surviving spouse, what if they have the best intentions at heart, but they end up getting dementia or Alzheimer's, and someone else all of a sudden gets control and power of attorney, and then they start making decisions that would go differently than what you had planned. So it's very important, and this is a way to protect your kids. So the key benefits of a QTIP trust. So here's kind of like the highlight reel with a little humor sprinkled in. So spousal support. Your spouse gets lifetime income, and think of it as a financial love letter that keeps paying dividends. Isn't that nice?
Sounds beautiful.
You also get control of your legacy. You decide where the assets ultimately go. As you mentioned, Matt, there's tax efficiency. So states, estate taxes are deferred. So you're basically telling the IRS, hey, wait your turn. Patience is a virtue. And then there's blended family harmony. So your kids from prior marriages are protected, less chance of family feuds, and then creditor protection. Assets are shielded from creditors.
And it's important if you even go through the process of this QTIP trust, and I've seen and dealt with this specifically, where not all of the necessary assets were titled in the trust, this QTIP trust. So one of the spouses ended up, the surviving spouse had some outside stock and other assets that weren't titled in the trust that they thought that they could then cash in, utilize as part of their income. Well, the kids found out that they cashed this stock in. It ended up being a big mess just because all of the trust was set up properly, but then they didn't take the next step of funding it properly. So you really need to make sure that when you're doing these things, as with any advanced planning strategy, you need to work with qualified estate planning attorneys and financial advisors who are not only going to tailor the plan for your specific needs and family dynamics, but also to make sure that you're following up on all of these necessary steps so that your best laid plans just don't go down the drain. And of course, if you're looking for a great financial planner, I know I'm a little biased, but I would say reach out to us.
Reach out to us. We're here.
Yeah, we're here. And we'd love an opportunity to talk to you. We do complimentary consultations. And if you've listened to us and you think, hey, this investment strategy sounds good, or this financial planning philosophy resonates with you, reach out, schedule that complimentary consultation. We'll go through your goals. We'll go through your situation, your taxes, give you some peace of mind. And if there's holes, we'll let you know. And many people have never had someone look at all areas of their financial life, and it can really be of benefit. And if we can help you, that's great. If you're doing well and we can't help you, we'll let you know. And we'll still part as friends. So again, to explore becoming a client, always go to our website at bnwealth.com or call our office at 847-780-2980.
And then also, we encourage you to subscribe to our weekly economic newsletter. It's called the 5-Minute Market Brief. It's highly informative. It's succinct, easy to read. We get a lot of feedback on it and a lot of compliments on it. It's a way where you can stay on top of what's going on and get an idea of our analysis of what's happening. You can sign up for it at bnwealth.com. You can also follow us online via our BN Wealth social media pages on Facebook and Instagram. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel on Money Hour Radio, where you can view this week's episode along with the previous ones. And something we want to talk about also is that we were talking about private equity before, Matt, and it's so interesting. We've been seeing so many things about it recently, but we consider ourselves the opposite of private equity. So literally everything they stand for, we're the opposite. They prioritize profits. We prioritize people. They suck money out of the business and the community in a lot of places. We believe in being a locally owned firm and enriching and giving back to the community. So if our philosophy resonates with you, and like Matt said, if you want to pursue becoming a client of ours, please consider coming in to see us. Our phone number is 847-780-2980. And of course, you can reach us online at bnwealth.com. And we are almost out of time. God bless you. We'll see you next week. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.